taken your first step into a larger world.
You will always remember this as the day that you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow. There's some good in this world, Mr. Furl. And it's worth fighting for. You can act like a man! What's the matter with you? Avengers! Assemble. That belongs in a museum!
Well, hello, everybody. You are listening to the Good Day for a Movie podcast. I'm Jacob, and joined along with me is Sage. And Tate.
What's up?
How we doing, boys?
Good.
I'm not distracted by fantasy football or anything.
Hey, that's all right. It is football season, but more importantly, it is the season of franchise frenzy. We are going to, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, we'll be reviewing different series or franchises of movies and breaking them down movie by movie, episode by episode. And this month, we are reviewing Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was reading the chat because we are live for this episode. So that's some added pressure. But not really. It's okay. Just pretend we're not live, Sage, okay?
It's annoying. I don't remember this conversation, but...
Wow, I just learned that we have a private chat and then like a regular chat with everybody else. Oh, nice.
We do, yes. And Tate, for the people, I am going to change your name from Poopify to Tate so they know who's talking and see your face and can match your face to your name. So what do you think? Should we just kind of get into this thing? The movie pick is Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Lawrence Kasdan, George Lucas, and Philip Kaufman. Philip Kaufman's the one who directed Invasion of the Body Snatchers, if you remember that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before we do anything, that new intro is sick.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I like the way you mixed all the music. 'Cause that's all that the guy that does all this sound, right?
Well, it's not all John Williams. Like, not
all John Williams. I thought
a lot of it was. Like Star Wars obviously was. Indiana
Pirates?
Jones obviously was. Pirates was not.
Oh.
It actually wasn't even Hans Zimmer. It was a different guy that came up with that first Pirates theme for the
That's what I
first
thought.
Pirates of the Caribbean movie. No, the theme of the intro was just different series, different franchises.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Godfather was in there. Marvel was in there. That was Alan Silvestri, a guy we talked about last episode with the Zemeckis movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So we kind of
Sure.
talked about it last episode, but Tate, you don't think you've ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?
No. I
Or
mean,
Indiana Jones. You've seen bits and pieces of Indiana Jones movies.
yeah. I mean, like, I think everybody's like through their life and just being a person, you've seen clips here or there of things.
It's in
Like,
the
I mean,
zeitgeist.
yeah, like all of that intro. I don't like watching this movie. I don't think I've ever seen it fully, but there's a lot of things that I have seen before. That
Sage, your pre-impressions, I guess, before you rewatch this movie.
I remembered liking it as a kid. Like, it was never a highlight movie, but it was just a movie where I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. Kind of like E.T., I guess. Growing up, I liked E.T. a lot. It was in that realm.
Have you seen all three of these?
There's 4.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I
interesting.
know for a fact
Well-
I have not seen the 4th, but I did that very intentionally.
Is
Yeah.
there 3 with Harrison Ford and then one?
All 4 with Harrison
All
Ford.
4 for Harrison Ford, yeah.
Yeah.
3 of them are like in the 80s, 90s, though, and then the 4th was in the 2000s.
It was like 81, like I can't remember where Temple of Doom came out, but it was mid 80s, and then Last Crusade was 89.
Okay, so Sage, there's a couple that you don't think you've seen.
No.
Okay, interesting. Well, I guess let me read the little synopsis here. I don't think many people need this, but we do it every episode, so we might as well. Archaeology professor Indiana Jones ventures to seize a biblical artifact known as the Ark of the Covenant. While doing so, he puts up a fight against Renee and a troop of Nazis. Yeah.
Nice.
Streaming on Showtime. It is not on Paramount Plus. It is just on Showtime. But Showtime and Paramount Plus now have a deal where it's like $7 more a month or something like that. Maybe it's 10 more a month that you can watch both Showtime and Paramount stuff on Paramount Plus. But I do not pay for that. Instead, what I did, this is a good. I almost forgot. I went out and bought it in 4K,
Ooh.
which means you see this little word here, digital. I've got the digital codes for all 4 movies. What we're gonna have you do, you can. I think it's gonna be you can do one of each thing, or if you do each thing, you'll get that many entries. So you can either, but you must provide proof of it. So you have to leave a review, or take a screenshot that you're subscribed to the podcast, or take a screenshot that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. So if you do all 3 of those things, you get 3 entries. If you do one of those things, you get 1. If you do 2 of those things, you get 2. Pretty easy math there.
If you say Tate's your favorite, you won't get an entry, but you'll get a high five from me.
Yeah, and then we'll randomly select them on the episode of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And so they have to be done by then. Hopefully by Last Crusade, we'll have that date nailed down for when we're going to review that movie. It'll be at the end of October after these guys get back from Colombia. Future dates, this won't matter for when we're reviewing Temple of Doom this coming Thursday, or this past Thursday when this episode is actually released. We are reviewing The Last Crusade the Tuesday after this episode's released. So we're kind of going fast motion here, watching a lot of movies, reviewing a lot of movies in a little bit of time, because these guys are headed off to Colombia on October 7th. So
I'm going to be my own little Indiana Jones.
Yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of it. I'll remind you, and you can email those in at gd4ampodcast@gmail.com. Follow us, or DM them to us on Twitter or Instagram, gd4gd.movies, gd4gd_movies. Unless anybody has anything else, we'll see you on the other side. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
That was my first. Wow, that's crazy. That was my first note in this. Was which I guess we'll just kick it off with a question for you guys. What would you rather fall into a pit of, snakes or spiders?
Oh, that's tough.
Like a lot of spiders or like a lot of snakes. No, they won't bite you. They won't harm you. You're not in danger.
Okay, so
Mental danger. It's a fear-based question.
Then probably spiders, because I think if I
probably
fall, I'm going to
spiders.
smash more of them. But if I fall on snakes, it's a low likelihood that I'll be able to kill any of the snakes with my fall. Even though I do weigh a lot, so I could probably kill a few with the fall.
Man, I don't know. I guess
It's
probably
tough.
spiders. But like
Dr. Earl,
answer.
Dr. Earl from the Deuce Cast has a question for you too. Are you guys drug running?
Columbia.
Yes.
No.
There's your answer.
Oh, wait. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess first off, Tate, your first impressions, because you've never seen this movie all the way through, or you think you haven't.
It was so good. I loved it. I mean, well, okay, so my initial thoughts were fucking great movie. I mean, I love everybody in it. I thought it was an awesome plot. I think like the action wise and the adventure wise killed it. So first reaction was just, I thought it was awesome. And especially coming off of watching Romancing the Stone, it doesn't even like this movie has everything that Romancing the Stone has, but way better. I mean, it had even better comedy. It had better romance, had a much better like adventure plot. So yeah, I mean, especially coming after that last movie, this was so much better.
Sage?
Which is hilarious because I went the other way. I thought this movie was bang average, which apparently is a British term, I learned.
Mm.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised.
Wait. How'd you learn that? Did you Google bang average?
No, it's just I play FIFA, and a lot of FIFA players are British, and I just picked up the term playing FIFA, and apparently it's a British term.
Huh. Okay. Continue.
Interesting.
But
Yeah,
if something's
continue.
bang average, it means it's like dead average.
Exactly average.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was very underwhelmed after watching it.
Wow, that's shocking. My, I don't know, 800th reaction. I think I've seen this movie a lot. Like it's this and Lord of the Rings are probably tied for second on most watches after Star Wars. I think this is a near perfect movie. I think the script is so tight. It's just action after action. The story doesn't stop, and when it's not action, it's important dialogue. It's just I love the adventure of it. I love Harrison Ford. He's just so charismatic and such a great movie star. Karen Allen is awesome. John Rhys Davis. Do you guys know who he is? What other big character he plays? Gimli.
Wait, he was in this movie?
Yes, he was Sala.
The homie?
Yes.
The Cairo homie?
Yes, the Cairo guy, the guy in Egypt.
Is
Sala.
Gimli?
Yes.
What?
That's weird.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is very
I would
weird.
have never. That would be such good trivia. I would have never known
Yeah. And do you guys know who the guy was at the beginning of the movie that's leading Indiana through the...
Yeah, it was Doc Ock.
Yeah, Alfred Molina.
that. Oh. You mean the one that it like betrays him and gets killed?
Yep.
Yep.
Toss
Nice.
me the whip. Toss me the idol. That guy.
Douche.
Yeah, I mean, like, even from the very start of it, I just love how the Paramount logo turns into the mountain. I think that is cool. It's set in 1936. So this isn't something that I fully realized until I was like over the age of 18, that it wasn't set in like the 70s or the 80s. I don't know why. It just never really crossed my mind, but it's set in the 30s. 1936 is when that opening scene takes place.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing about the right off the bat is that I thought that like, I mean, that's the main scene that I think everyone talks about and is like, I mean, the whole swapping of the idol and the boulder chasing him. Those like the two that I can think of most iconic like Indiana Jones things. And I didn't know that was at the very beginning of the movie. So then that actually kind of got me excited because that got like the one or two things that I knew about this movie out of the way. And then everything else was fresh. But yeah, it kicked the movie off like right away with awesome action and like a perfect setup for the whole movie.
Yeah, and it's so George Lucas. That's exactly how he tells like even the story of Star Wars. You don't get introduced to the beginning of the story. You get dropped in at the end of another story.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's awesome. Like it's such a fun way to tell a story because as soon as you get dropped in, you're like, okay, what's going on? Who's this guy? You don't even see Harrison Ford's face until he has his first whip smack.
Snap.
There we go.
Wow,
Yeah, whip
fuck,
snap.
how did I not throw that sound on the button? That would okay, that's gonna come.
And then that adventure's over and we're on to the next one. We're kind of, we take a little time to set that up, but it doesn't take that long. It's maybe 10, 15 minutes and we're off and rolling. We're off to Nepal and
They
bar fights, drinking competitions. And then we're leaving Nepal and we're going to Cairo. Then it's just nonstop and it's so good. And it's all just capitalized with that great John Williams score.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's also the first thing that like came to my mind in that first whole. I mean, like what you're saying, like this opening scene. That's kind of the end of the first story. Music in that one right off the bat, I was like, wow, this is awesome. But real quick, because I want to keep going into what you're talking about. I have a question though for Sage. Sage, if you were Jock, would you drop the fish?
The pilot.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking about that.
When he had a fish on the line, I thought of you.
No, I would have caught the fish and flown away.
My gosh, I was just picturing Sage, and because I like that was great little comedy. Like that was way better than everything that Romancing the Stone does, where he's just like was sitting there fishing. Clearly has a fish right on the line, and he's just like, "We need to go. We're about to get killed by these people." And he's like, "Damn it, but I have a fish." And he's like, "God damn it." Anywho,
I would have told Indiana. It sounds like a personal problem.
I should have done this earlier. Hello, Garrison. Hello, Earl. Hello, Michael.
What's up,
the
boys?
Deucecast Extra crew is in the chat, which is very exciting.
But yeah, okay. So then going into one of my favorite things about the movie, like you just were starting to mention, is like how like it never feels like a dull moment. Even when they're like, they kind of take these breaks between each like action scene, I guess you'd say. But usually, and like the first break was kind of like when he's in the classroom teaching, but it's all stuff that matters to the story. And like it gives background on him, gives background on like what he likes and like his partners and what he like, because his true like passion is just this treasure hunting basically and archaeology, and supporting the museums is, yeah, he doesn't care for any like fame or money or anything like that. So I think it's like each one of those moments between all the action is important to set up the story for later, which is awesome because sometimes like I feel like movies have those breaks and they just don't really matter that much. But yeah, anywho, it was kind of like nonstop, like important scene that mattered right into an action scene. Important scene that mattered right into an action scene. And so like that back and forth throughout the whole movie is awesome. But the bar was my next note.
But before we get there, the introduction of Belloc is perfect as well. And he's a great antagonist for Indiana Jones, where he's always there at the end to get the upper hand and to take the prize from Indiana, which is just perfect because Indy did all the work and Belloc did none of it, but he's just that capitalistic, just opportunistic, always there at the right moment to win in the end. And it's great.
Yeah, he's perfect antagonist to Indy.
But before we get to the bar stuff, I think that stuff in the classroom is hilarious as well because all the girls are just in love with him, and then he gets off track because the girl wrote "love you" on her eyes. I think that's hilarious too, and just so funny.
He had a little like Clark Kent vibes going on.
I can
like Superman outfit, and then he's got like his, I don't know.
It is pretty funny to make an archaeologist a superhero.
Yeah, he is kind of like a superhero.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got the whole outfit and the costume and his like whip, but then his day job, he's just a professor, nerdy looking professor.
Sage, you can poke holes in whatever I'm saying. Feel free, whenever you want. If something comes up,
there's no like. Well, there's the overarching hole. Is the holes already exist because it's a giant block of Swiss cheese. It was an insanely cheesy movie. Like from beginning to, I mean, honestly, the best kind of scenes, I guess, was the opening scenes, but even then they had pretty cheesy moments, but I thought the dialogue was insanely cheesy, which it seemed like it intended to be. The progress of the plot just seemed like insanely cheesy, very predictable. There's no like point in the movie where I was like, wow, I have no idea what's going to happen. I was like, it's going to go bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. And then it went bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. And for the record, I didn't completely remember the movie. I think Tate and I watched it when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. So it was a long, long time ago. But yeah, the overarching problem for me from A to Z was insane cheese that didn't really offer anything else for me.
What was cheesy about it?
I see what
like,
he means.
I see how it could be, but that comes off to me as like classic and like almost like suave from Harrison Ford. Any of his like maybe could be conceived of like cheesy lines. It just comes off as like a suave, like cool guy. He knows what he's doing. He always knows what his next step is until he doesn't. Like when Belloc comes in and
I mean, he had some cheesy one-liners, which I think that like
tons of one-liners.
But I think
and like
sure.
I'm and I guess maybe that's just something I'm fine with and like I like.
I was thinking about this with like other movies that we've talked about, and like there's so many movies that have cheese, and I feel like it just comes down to whether like you can look past it and like it and for what it is and just like accept it and actually enjoy it, because there was like some cheese in this movie, but I actually enjoyed some of it. And like there's Romancing the Stone, which to me was insanely cheesy, like way more than this movie, and it like sucked at a lot of points of it. Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, no, it's based in adventure cereals.
So that, yeah, you know what a cereal is? Not the thing you eat. It's it's the adventure of the week type of thing where
I saw it spelled that way. I was like, what the cereals? I was like, hurting the brain.
But yeah, it's based on these shows and movies that came from the 40s, like even like a Flash Gordon, like a lot of the Star Wars stuff is based on, because Lucas was a writer on this and he liked the episodic, like serial nature of things where each episode stands alone and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it's based on, and so that's why there are those one-liners that I guess I can look past, because I do like that type of storytelling. I like and to me it doesn't come off as cheesy, because cheesy usually is like, yes, I agree, like a lot of movies like do have that like type of cheesiness, and it is about if you can look past it. But I think it's the reason you're able to look past it is whether the actor delivers it properly, whether the director times it and edits it right, and the writer has written like a good like a good cheesy line, I guess, if that's the route you want to go with that.
Yeah, and I
But
think, like, I mean, like, it makes me think about other movies like James Bond, or like, I don't know, all those other ones. Like, you
Mhm.
could definitely knock maybe those if you dislike those, maybe unrealistic
Well,
one-liners.
that's a really good point. Something I meant to bring up even in the intro. I was actually going to write us a whole script, and we were going to act out like plays. Sage was going to be the narrator, Tate was going to be Steven Spielberg, and I was going to be George Lucas. Instead, I'll just tell you the story. So Star Wars, it's the day of release of Star Wars, and Spielberg and him are now. I can't remember if they're sitting in the diner on the day of the release, like the premiere. But eventually they decide, all right, Spielberg just finished with Close Encounters, Lucas just finished with Star Wars, really grueling productions on both of those movies. They decide, you know what, let's go on vacation. So they go on vacation to Hawaii, and they're sitting on the beach, and George asks Steve, "Hey, Steve, so what do you want to do next?" And Spielberg's like, "Well, I think I want to try a James Bond movie, George." And George goes, "Huh, I got something better than James Bond." And he pitched him the idea of Indiana Jones. And he just pitched the idea of an adventurer going through and like just this archaeologist type, James Bond type of character. And then Kazan came in and like punched up the script. He's the guy that wrote Empire Strikes Back as well, and Return of the Jedi. And then Philip Kaufman came in with the idea of the big MacGuffin being the Lost Ark of the Covenant, and kind of bringing in that mystical nature to the whole story. So
Mm.
it's a pretty cool story that like that's how this all came about.
Well, and I just Googled what Michael Nipp said with Buck Rogers.
Yeah,
So I'm just looking into that now too.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what I was
That is
thinking
a
of, Buck
cool-
Rogers and Flash Gordon. But yeah,
That's a cool origin to the movie, because I mean it has I mean, like we've already said like a little bit, has like your Star Wars themes running through it, has your James Bond-esque macho man that is brave and takes on anything and like works his way and is always finds his way like out of situations and gets the girl, that kind of thing. So it has all of that, which I think, Sage, if that's what you're calling like some of the cheese too, I
It's
think
really, because I was thinking, and my first answer was going to be probably the best way to explain how it felt cheesy to me was it felt exactly like a James Bond movie. And which is funny that y'all said that, because I don't think any James Bond movie has ever, will ever get above an average score for me, because they're just so, it's like,
you Hovens and your rules, only 5s and 0s.
it's
and
not a rule.
Comedies
It's just
not over an 80.
like facts. They're just like
yeah, but he's got crazy rules.
boring. Like cheesy stuff like that for me is pretty boring. If it's just, it's
My only thing about this now is that if you rate this lower than Romancing the Stone because this is cheesy, I'm gonna slap it.
That's true.
it's
that-
not.
I
have to.
You got to
I
be
know.
careful because you've locked yourself in with Romancing the Stone now. So if
I
you
know.
say this is cheesier and rate it lower than that, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I will be too.
Which is funny because it's what's going to happen.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
just
crazy.
It is
Um,
actually what's going to happen.
Let's get into something that I think Sage might love about this film, and if you don't, I will be even more surprised than I'm already right now. But the bar scene, is that not like your favorite scene in the whole movie?
Like in Nepal?
Yeah, the drinking competition
The
with
drinking
Marion and
competition
the
with the babe who owns the bar, and then the bar
babe
fight.
that like takes 12 shots and doesn't look
The only babe.
lick drunk, and then like just
because she's a
deals
badass.
with.
Yeah, because she's so badass.
She lives in Nepal. There's nothing else to do besides drink in the winter, and she
That was-
owns a bar.
That was a pretty fugly dude that she was going up against too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna vomit. And when he passed out, I thought that was good. No, that scene was awesome. I mean, that was like, again, you could say that that's like cheesy that they're both ripping shots and that she doesn't feel anything from it, and she had like 12 in front of her. Whatever. That was such a good opening scene. It like everything about it was all fun.
And it sets up stuff about her character that comes into play later in the movie too.
Yeah, which I kind of like know a little bit about her backstory. I mean, they barely kind of go over it. But I didn't really get that much like about her background other than
I just mean the drinking stuff. Like
Oh,
when she tries to get Belloc drunk, you know she's not gonna actually be hammered. She's gonna play it off. And
she's playing it off. Yeah.
yeah.
It does build on later. Yeah. And that's one of my other things that will probably come out as we keep talking about the movie, is that I think they did a really good job of setting things up for later in the movie. There's a lot of instances where they either show something or they have something happen to somebody that you're like, it doesn't really matter in the moment, but then like half an hour later, or like way later in the movie,
guy burning his hand on the
yeah, like little things like that. I'm trying to think of others. It'll probably come up, but they did a really good job of that. So that's why I also think it's a pretty tight storyline. Yeah, the bar scene was fucking sick, and obviously the bar fight was awesome. So
Oh yeah, and like, but even before the bar fight, after everybody leaves and she's like counting her money, and Indiana Jones walks in, and it's just the shadow on the wall. It's just, and the music plays. It's just such a great shot, and it's just such an like, it's you just know who it is, obviously because of the hat, and it's just awesome. Eventually, either on Thursday or next Tuesday, I will have an Indiana Jones hat. It's probably going to be way too small for me. I bought it in Disney World when I was like 10. But I've still got it somewhere. I just haven't been able to find it.
I'm also going to wear, I don't have an Indiana Jones hat, but I'm going to wear a cool hat.
But yeah, then the fight is awesome. And like, it's, I don't know. It's just all like, it's just a bunch of moving pieces that just work. And like the barrel of beer gets shot through before she's about to go hit the guy over the head, and she just like drinks a bunch of beer from it and then goes and hits him over the head. It's just great, and it's just great fun adventure serial type of storytelling, and it's just I just love it.
Yeah, well, and like I to that little like scene, thought she was doing that. I thought that was liquor. I thought she was gonna get that like blow flames at him. So then when I found out
she just likes to drink
it, it's like, I'm in love. Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's awesome.
That would be the girl for you.
Oh, she'd drink me under the table. I was gonna say, who do you think would win in that game of shots?
Oh, her easily.
I'm trying to come up with no, between us. I'm trying to come up with like more questions as I watch the movie, like stuff I can.
Shots, I'd probably be done pretty quick. If it was a beer, like beer for beer, I think I can hang with just about anybody.
I'd take her.
Sage has no between us three.
No, between us three, Dingus.
Me. For sure.
What if it's tequila?
I would be out.
Me.
You think
I give up?
Oh, wow.
I give up right now.
You?
I think I can beat you in tequila.
You're a baby.
He's a man of Tejas, Sage. He lives in Tejas. Tequila is in his bloods now.
Yeah, we were at when he was home last time. He was all like, Mr. Texas. He wanted margaritas, and we went to my restaurant, and I ordered a normal margarita, and he was like, I want a spicy margarita. Can you make it spicy for me? And they were like, sure can. And so they brought it out, and Tate took one sip, and he's like, too spicy, too spicy. So we had to mix our two margaritas so that I could take some of the spice off of his. And it was so not spicy.
I am convinced that there's like a ghost pepper in that marg. That was the spiciest thing I've ever drank.
Beer for beer is going to be the name of Ross Memoirs. That's a great idea, Michael. I will be stealing that.
I do think. I
he
mean,
needs to win a beer for beer first. Ayo,
beers between you two, and any hard liquor, I take Sage, except for I think tequila. I got you.
I'm bowing out of the hard liquor because
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to try it stage sometime.
Before we move on with the story, I did want to bring this up again at the beginning. You know who was originally supposed to be who they wanted to be Indiana Jones?
In the 80s.
We actually
I have heard
played
this before.
we played his theme song from the show he was doing when he didn't become Indiana Jones in the last episode.
Was it Michael Douglas?
No, it was Tom Selleck and he was doing Magnum PI in Hawaii, and the producers of that show said, and network people were like, "Nope, you can't do it. Sorry, you're locked into this show."
That's one of those probably a huge blessing in disguise.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Harrison Ford's great, and don't get me wrong, I love Tom Selleck, and I think this movie's good enough that it still would have been a good movie. It probably wouldn't have held up to this legendary point that it is now if Tom Selleck was it, because Harrison Ford is just cut. He's built different.
He's
as the kids say.
Kids show, and I mean I haven't seen enough from Tom Selleck to know if he has like that kind of charismatic.
In the 80s, he definitely did. He was very charismatic in Magnum PI.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe, but I don't know. Maybe it's just after watching this, I'm just like, I can't really see that many people that would do that much better than Harrison Ford in this. Pretty perfect for it.
By the way, speaking of the two of them, do you guys know Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers? Like the Disney little chipmunks?
I've heard of it.
Well, those two characters are dressed as Magnum PI and Indiana Jones. That's like the costumes they're wearing. Yeah, look it up.
Jamie, pull up a pic.
Yep. No idea what you're talking about.
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. They have plungers. But yeah, they are. One's wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, and the other one's.
That's the new movie, but let's see if there's a.
Oh yeah, they totally are.
Yeah, let me share it on here. There we go. See, there's Tom Selleck, and there's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
No, here's
kind of
there's
funny.
The good picture. Yeah. Because they're also two like adventure type things. Michael says very similar to the story that Pierce Brosnan was supposed to be James Bond way earlier, but was doing Remington Steele, so he could not. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back into this thing. So, they leave.
So after the bar, the awesome bar fight. Isn't that when they go to Cairo after that?
Yep. And absolutely goated traveling by map stuff here.
Oh yeah,
it's so good.
Makes me think of fucking
the Muppets.
No, Tweety Bird with the way
it did make me think of the Muppets.
Yeah, Muppets, but also like isn't there the old Tweety Bird movie that where she gets like passports, or he gets passports and that goes around the Disney movie or whatever?
That was a thing.
Yeah,
I don't know that one.
Like Tweety Bird had to like get his passport stamped at a bunch of places or something.
Let me catch up on my notes here before we get to Cairo. The guy who played Porkins in Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, the like fat X-wing pilot, he was one of the like FBI military guys in the suit. He was the fat guy in the suit. It's a nice little Star Wars connection.
The one, sorry, I was looking up. It's called Tweety's High Flying Adventure.
Does Tweety Bird travel by map?
Yep. Collects passports and gets chased by the cat. It's awesome. Okay. But you said the FBI man that initially comes to the school?
Yeah, the fat one with the mustache. He was Jack Porkins from A New Hope. He's the fat X-wing pilot that on the Death Star run. And then when we are traveling to Cairo, it starts off with Marion's theme, which is this kind of like sweeping. I don't know if it's a violin or what, and it just goes perfectly into the Indiana Jones main theme, and it's just a beautiful piece of work. And I do want to I bring this up anytime I ever talk about Indiana Jones and John Williams music from it. Marion's theme, and I tried to mash them together today at work, but I didn't have time. Marion's theme and the beginning of the Han Solo and Princess piece from Empire Strikes Back. If you think of the movie, it's the part that plays as the Falcon like flies up in the air and does a little flip and goes down into the worm. It sounds like very similar. It's very cool. But Anyways,
I didn't really catch her theme, so that's something that I'll have to.
do I need to play it?
Is she in the whole series?
No spoilers.
Okay, fine. Well, yeah, you can play it if you want. If you can bring it up.
All right, I have to because I do love it.
I mean, I didn't. That's something that I didn't pick up on is that she had her own music.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're just super quiet now. Okay, I think this is probably the best one to play. Let me skip ahead. I don't like that version. It's like ripped and there's weird noises happening in it. Let me pull up the actual official one. There we go. This part. Yeah, so that's Marion's theme, and it's that part specifically sounds very much there. It's the beginning part of Han Solo and the Princess, and there's a little bit of that in Princess Leia's theme as well from A New Hope. It's just fantastic stuff, really.
She's kind of like a Leia.
Yeah, for sure. I
Very
totally get that vibe. All right,
She would drink Leia under the table, though.
Oh, definitely. Let's see. So then we do finally get to see, Dr. Earl agrees with me. It is similar to Leia's theme from Star Wars. Thank you. We get to Cairo. We meet Sallah. Salah's awesome. He's just a big old friendly Arab dude, Egyptian dude, who's just one of my favorite side characters in movies.
Yeah, he was sweet, and I feel like every James Bond character James Bond has his side characters that remind me of Indiana Jones people, and for me, he reminds me of I forget which one it is. It's either it's Casino Royale, I think, when he flies to or I don't know, gets his cards all shut off from M. And he has to go to this rich guy's house that he knows that always helps him out. And he's just this old white guy. And anywho, so that but he kind of reminded me of that character for him a little bit. But yeah, Sallah was awesome.
And he's got 8 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they find Sallah knows a guy who can read the amulet. The head of the staff of Ra.
The whole scene running around in the streets was awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Marion gets kidnapped because they think she's got the amulet, or at least knows the information about it.
And that rat bastard monkey.
Yes, and it shouldn't be funny, but it's so funny when the monkey gives the Heil.
Yeah.
And the guy gives it back to him, and he's like, I don't know if I should have done that back to the monkey.
I really like the monkey.
Nazi monkey.
Wow. Okay. That is one thing that I meant to say at the very beginning. I wasn't going to say on the front end, but one thing I had no idea about this movie is the Nazis in it.
Yeah.
I just thought this was an adventure movie. I didn't know it was against Nazis.
Yeah, that did. I totally forgot that.
Yeah,
that did take a solid 5-10 minutes of mentally trying to figure out where this or when this was placed.
Yeah. Because I saw at the very beginning it was 1936 or whatever. But then immediately they're just the goddamn Nazis are trying to steal this artifact. And I was like, of course they are.
There's a movie. I can't remember it. Oh, that's what it is. It's Captain America. It's the first Captain America. They make a reference to Hitler is taking too much time searching for artifacts in the desert in Africa, and that's a reference to Indiana Jones. So I
yeah,
forgot about that one.
Michael says that he liked the monkey.
Oh, the monkey was awesome. Oh, searching for trinkets in the sand. That's right. Thank you, Dr. Earl. That's the line that one of the Nazi guys says in the first Captain America.
Funny.
But yeah, so uh,
So anyhow, those scenes, the first couple scenes in Cairo, of
Andy
course,
coming up against the massive guy with the massive sword.
yeah,
Have you guys ever heard the story of behind why that happened?
no,
So there in the script, there was supposed to be a big fight scene. Well, they were shooting in Cairo, and Harrison Ford had gotten a stomach bug that day and was like just shitting his brains out all day. And they're like, we need to at least like try to shoot this scene. And he's like, all right. He got up there and like you can see him like he wipes the sweat off and he looks like shit. And he's like, I'm pretty sure it was Harrison Ford who said, let me just oh, that was Garrison. I'm sorry. I said thank you. That was Garrison. That was not Earl. I'm sorry, Garrison. I Garrison often gets called my name. I don't know. I get called Garrison's name. He's Garrison Rifen. Few people will get that reference, but so he had to take this massive shit. So he was like, "What if I just like shoot him?" And they're like, "That works." And so that's how that kind of played out.
wow, that's
why
awesome.
they did that. Yeah.
That is a good scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly because he just came off of fighting like 4, 5, 6 guys, and then well, and I like, yeah, when you see the big dude in the middle of it, you're like, oh damn, all right, here it goes, and then he just pulls out his gun and shoots him and walks away. I was like, perfect. It's exactly what you should do in that situation. Not, I was like, fight those other guys, but this guy, don't fight him. And then how everybody picked up his sword right after that and was like, cheering.
Like, yeah. And then when he's running through, knocking everybody's like laundry baskets over or whatever they're filled with, looking for, I'm just like, oh, there's probably so mad. Like, imagine if somebody did that to you. I'd be like, whoa,
yeah,
dude.
like, all right, dude, you want to fight? What's up?
Yeah, messed up, but very funny.
Well, and also like, I mean, when she dies, obviously you don't like coming. And there's a like when Sage said that this movie is predictable. It's predictable in like a few ways, and like mainly those ways are that like he wins in the end for the most part, and he gets the girl kind of thing. And so like when she was dead, I was like, okay, well of course she's not dead, but they play it off well, and they don't like they wait for a long time to bring her back in, and that was good because at least like you know she's not dead. But you don't know that she's not dead. Like at least they like let it linger for a little bit. It's not like he saw it blow up and then he like turned his head and she was just standing right there or something. So that was good. That was well done. And a good end to that whole scene.
Yeah, and I do like how they don't let the audience know.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
She's alive either. Sorry, I may have been spacing out when you were saying that. Then he gets hammered. He was very good at acting drunk too. Like even sitting at the table, he was just like, it was impressive stuff. Acting drunk, I feel like it would be very hard. Like,
dude, give me a couple of shots.
Over the top.
Are we sure he was acting?
I'm not. Maybe he was. Maybe he was. And then we get the bad dates scene. I like the constant like flipping up of the date from Harrison Ford and like. Because everybody knows they're poisoned. He doesn't. Sala doesn't. And then the monkey eats the date. And I love the line from Sala too. And he grabs it. He goes, "Bad dates."
Yeah. Well, and that one, it was kind of like, and there's like little things at this whole thing where I think Sage is like, I mean, yeah, sure, it's like cheesy moments where like he's going to eat it, and the guy is talking about something completely different. It just goes, wait, blah 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 blah. But it's perfectly timed with it. But like to me, like I enjoyed all of those things. So, yeah. I for a second thought that one of the other guys was going to eat it, not the monkey. So I was very happy to see that monkey eat it. Get him out of here.
Bye-bye, Nazi monkey.
Yeah. Calling out my babe when she was hiding.
That is a very good shot from like above the ceiling fan of the dead monkey when after that scene's over and the fan just like slowly going. I think it's a very like kind of ominous shot that kind of builds the tension for the rest of the movie.
And that because that's where he figures out that the staff isn't the right height or whatever that they thought. So then did he just go get a random stick? Like not the staff.
No, I'm gonna say no because he does snap the stick after he finds it in the map room.
But that's just
it was in the map room.
I think that's just to destroy the evidence.
Yes, no, that's what I mean. Like it was not in the map room. He threw it down, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that he went and found the right heighted stick.
Yeah. Okay. So it was just a random stick that happened to be the right height, and
Yeah.
then it wasn't like the staff that they were all looking for.
No,
Yeah,
it was just a random
Cool.
wooden stick. Yes, I guess we can kind of skip up to the map room stuff, and I like it's that is the stuff that I could see as cheesy with like the huge like light coming out of like this spot, but I don't know. I like it because it's an adventure thing. It's almost like the Mummy movie. Like this is where we're starting to deal with some of the stuff of that is legend, and that they're like, oh shit, this is like all of this stuff was true, and like I like that they bring that into it.
Well, and I think like which I'm going to keep comparing this to Romancing the Stone. But like in Romancing the Stone, the adventure side of it and like the map was so shitty and terrible compared to this. Like at least in this one, they like had these like stepping stones that they had to go do this, and then they had to go to this place and get this amulet, and then they had to go to this place and check the map out. And they like found out that what the other people are doing is misled, and so based on like what this new information they have, they know that they have the upper hand. And like it was like that's all so much better than like in Romancing the Stone, where they just like run away, where they just find a rock, break it open, and they're like, we found it. Like that was terrible. And so and all of this stuff, even though like it had some cheesy elements, it was really well done, I think, as far as a adventure.
I do think that it is so much better because it is partially based on like real life and real history. And I mean, after I finished the movie last night for the first time, I read the entire Wikipedia page on the Ark of the Covenant. And the place that they're
because I was going to ask you about that, because it would say there's a Jewish thing.
Well, it's a Jewish and Christian. Like it's part of the Old Testament.
Okay. The Ten Commandments. Okay. I don't know anything about religion.
Yeah. So, but like that city that they were like digging in, people really did think that that's where it was. Like that was one of the locations. There's a bunch of different locations. They dug up a whole hill in Ireland. Some people think it's in the United States. Some people think it's in the Vatican City. Some people think it's still in Jerusalem. Some people think it's in Ethiopia. Actually, there's a church in Ethiopia that says that they have it, which is crazy to me. Like they're like, no, yeah, it's just locked back there in this room. And one day, I think it was like in 2000, I can't remember if it was 2002 or 2012. Like one of like the main priests there was like, on like November 1st, he's like, tomorrow I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to show everybody that we have the Ark of the Covenant. And then on November 2nd, he's like, I am not going to show it to everybody, but I have seen it, and I can assure you that we do have it. I'm like, what?
Michael said it was said to be in Africa too.
Yes.
But people are claiming that they have it.
That's where they're in, because they're in like somewhere outside of like, I think it's in Egypt that they're digging in. And Ethiopia is in Africa as well.
Should we go ahead and just claim that we have it now?
Yeah. The Good Day for Movie podcast is the owner of the Ark of the Covenant. I will remind you and Sage once again, do not touch it. Don't touch it, because if you touch it, you will die.
I have seen it, but I can't show you.
Yes. It also held,
because I wasn't supposed to open my eyes.
That's only when you open it. The Ark of the Covenant held Moses' stone tablets, a jar of manna, which is like a food that the Israelites lived on in their 40 days in the desert, and at the mount, and Aaron's building staff. Yeah, and nobody knows where it is now, and there is like actual like proof that it did exist at some point.
So that is a cool thing to base the whole storyline off of.
Not just, hey, here's this green emerald.
You don't even know what it is.
We're in trouble now.
I don't even think they ever say what they're looking for until they find it. They're like, this is it. They're like, I haven't, what?
Defend your movie, Sage.
I mean, yeah, obviously the cheese in Romancing the Stone is much cheesier. I think it's like an intention to be cheesy, and it's kind of dumb and entertaining in that way, whereas Indiana Jones was intending to be entertaining and not necessarily serious, but intentionally entertaining that ended up being cheesy in my eyes. Like the
I
scenes
don't know what you
intent
mean by that, but
like for me, Romancing the
I
Stone
think they just lost
fully
ease.
Romancing the Stone fully intended being cheesy. And in that way, I just was like, all right, well, there's zero intention of it trying to be serious, so I'm not going to take it serious. Whereas Indiana Jones, and I actually think this about Star Wars too, which is probably going to really piss Jacob off, is that there's like a serious intent to the movie and to the script and to the directing and everything. Like, not to make it like Prisoners or Prestige or like anything like serious undertone, but I mean like each setting and each scene, all of it is it's not intended to what is there a word for that?
I
Because
don't
it's not serious, but it's like
I don't know. But I think I'm not too sure on the point that you're trying to make, but I think I disagree with it.
it's just like they tried to come off intentionally entertaining. Maybe that's the way, and it just comes off super cheesy. Like pretty much everything you've said that you enjoyed, and when Tate would say, "Well, yeah, I could see how it was kind of cheesy." When I watched those scenes, I was like, "That was extremely cheesy. That was cheesy. That was very cheesy." Like the only non-cheesy scene that I mentioned that I liked was where he shot, like if he did fight the sword guy, I would have thought that was cheesy. But the fact that he did pull his gun, just pop, I was like, oh,
Okay, so what about when he fights the other big guy and gets his ass kicked?
It's okay. We're live. Just okay. Well, I guess we'll just.
yeah,
move
it
on.
was terrible. I hated that
That's
scene.
fine.
The airplane scene was so. It was like that action was so. It was like the old Boomerang cartoons where like you grab the other person's shirt, wind up your fist for like 2 or 3 seconds, and boom, and then the other guy goes, oh, grabs your
Okay, so
shirt,
if your
winds up for a
point
couple
is-
seconds, and punches. I was like,
if
yeah,
your
that's
point
how
is
every single fight was.
that that wasn't intentional, you're wrong. Because I do think that is intentional. They are kind of mimicking the action of the 40s and
Well,
stuff
and
like
also
that.
wasn't this all based on satire? Wait, maybe satire? No.
I don't think that's what he's going for. I don't think. Were you like, was satire the word you were
No.
looking for? I don't think it is.
Oh, what's he just looking for? Okay, I was like, I think
It's like
I mean,
Romancing
also-
the Stone was obviously dumb. Like if
But like all
if
of
they ever
this
tried to
is
say they were trying to
intentional as
be,
well.
huh?
They're doing that on purpose as well.
In Indiana Jones, yeah. It's different. It is different. Because would you say that the
it's just
yeah.
more about Harrison Ford. Yeah.
would you say that the cheese of of Indiana Jones and Romancing the Stone is the same?
Maybe yes, but just done way better or done way worse.
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty similar, but I think it's of higher quality in Indiana Jones, and it is done like purposeful because they are purposefully trying to they're making a movie that echoes back to those serials of the 40s, which I know it doesn't mean anything to you because you've never seen them and or like you don't get the reference. I think I'm fair in saying that. Like
Well,
I
it
don't
doesn't
fully
matter.
get that reference either. I guess that's fine if it doesn't matter to you, but
Yeah.
that is why I like it, and it is done intentionally. But I think what it comes off to me is like you're saying that they weren't doing it intentionally, and they were like those fight scenes were supposed to be super serious, like a Dark
No,
Knight
and that's
Christopher
not-
Nolan fight scene.
But I said that's not what I'm saying. It's not like Prisoners, and it's not like it's not a serious undertone. It's some weird space that I can't define, and it's frustrating.
I
Because
think
it's
that,
like
they were equally trying to be like an entertaining movie, not
it's
necessarily
like
a serious, realistic
And
movie.
it's like it's like bang average cheese. It's like not so cheesy that it's dumb, and it's like not
I just think
hard
that
Parmesan cheese where it's like almost comedic. Like, I don't know. It's just some weird cheese that's like, I don't know what to think about it. It's not dumb. It's not exceptional. It's just like, I expect it. Everything that I expect to happen happens. Everything, like, there's no surprises. It is like, oh, I guess that's kind of entertaining, but like, I'm not going to write home to my friends about it. Like, it's just American cheese. That's what it is.
that's funny.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. To me, I like it because I like stuff that, like, to me, this movie, we'll just focus on Indiana Jones, is I like that it's it's adventure, but it's also like it tiptoes to the fantasy until the end when it does almost go.
Full fantasy.
Yeah. And like,
It's past tiptoeing at that point.
but like all of the like Indiana Jones stuff, like, to me, it's almost providential, and it's almost like he is lucky, and like, but he's lucky for a reason, maybe due to a higher force, that he's able to get all of this stuff done, because he is trying to save the Ark from the Nazis, from the bad guys, and like, it's
Well, it
that's
seems
kind of
he
how I read it.
he doesn't even need to save it. It kills anybody who opens it.
Yeah.
It'll kill anybody anyways. But I do think that, like,
I love cheese. And I
know,
actually
so
was
I'm
going
like
to
it.
make another I love cheese. I like it's
it's
disgusting
just so
love.
funny that, like, they're like, and I think it's totally
But
fine.
here's an example. I actually have a great analogy. I hate American cheese. It's my least favorite cheese. It's disgusting. Velveeta is a disgusting cheese. It's not even really cheese.
Unless you warm it up.
I love Velveeta. Velveeta is great for queso. You make queso with Velveeta. Queso is romancing the stone. Disgusting fake cheese that no one should eat that is weirdly amazing. American cheese is like not as fake and disgusting as Velveeta, but not as good as all these stinky, beautiful, amazing cheeses. And it's just boring and I never want it and it grosses me out and I hate it.
Michael says Indiana Jones is a stinky cheese that tastes good, and Romancing the Stone is like Colby Jack that is going in will not taste good.
I think Michael's lactose intolerant.
What?
I don't know. He hasn't eaten cheese. That was the intent. I don't know. I disagree. The cheese, it was just like every time, every scene in Indiana Jones, I didn't go like, I didn't smile, I didn't laugh, I didn't scoff
You in a
either.
bad mood today?
No,
Yeah.
I watched it 2 nights
What's
ago.
wrong with you?
Were you in a bad mood 2 nights ago?
No, and it was
Poor
like
Sage. She was in a bad mood 2 nights ago.
I was totally fine, but I was about to say
Doesn't sound
I didn't
fine.
scoff at anything. I wasn't like, oh, that's so bad. I was like, oh, I didn't actually. There was one scene.
Sounds
that
like
really,
you're scoffing.
There was one scene that actually was very bad directing, and it really pissed me off.
What scene?
But it was when Indiana Jones was taking the truck with the Ark on it, when he was riding the horse, and then the horse, blah blah blah. When he was driving the truck and he was veering the cars off the road, there was one scene where it was facing towards the truck, and it was like still the jungle and palm trees, and he started to veer one of the cars off, and then the camera turned. And it was just suddenly a cliff, and he was just driving one of the cars off of a cliff. And then they drove around the cliff to the right. I was like, that was the stupidest transitional scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it was the same topography that they were driving through for the last like 2 or 3 minutes. And then they just suddenly do it felt like Fugitive, where they punted.
Well,
Harrison
do you know
Ford off of a
exactly
cliff
how
and it was
that
a dummy
road
doll.
is laid out and the geography of that place they were in Africa? I bet you don't. Because maybe that's actually how it is.
Jacob,
Maybe it's actually how it is, Sage. You don't know
you
that.
line up those scenes next
No,
side
I
to
noticed
side.
it too. I noticed it
Yeah.
too, and I knew it was coming. And I was like, this is maybe the only like thing that doesn't work in this movie.
It was
I didn't.
But you don't know
totally
that.
missed it, but
a
now
massive blunder. It was that was the only time in the entire movie where I was like, that's disgusting. But it made up for the couple times where I was like, okay, that's at least I like that. That's novel and that's fun. Like, but
Wait,
most of
the bad part made up for the good part? That doesn't make sense.
it was
You mean
so
it canceled out?
vile and disgusting. I hated that cutscene. It made me sick to my stomach. I was so mad. That really bothered me actually, especially because Spielberg's
You said he did it very fast.
And then he also-
Spielberg's
And the continuity errors do not bother him. That's Garrison, not Dr. Earl.
yeah,
That's
I
fine.
barely noticed it, but I think that's because I just don't.
But
I wasn't paying
there were
attention.
continuity errors selected, but it was like those kind of just the cheese factor. I was like,
Yeah, it's just part of it.
I'm not just, and then that one happened. I was like, that pissed me off. So that
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't even know where we're
Right.
going now. Are
Well,
we
yeah,
still
I-
on the whole cheese thing?
I just think it's
I think we
fine
can move
that-
past it.
It's fine that like you just didn't like it for that reason. I think that's
It just wasn't
First
bad or
thing.
good. Like I didn't. That was the only time in the movie where I scoffed and said, "Wow, this is a bad movie." And at the same time, there was like no times in the movie where I was like, "Oh wow, this is a great movie." It was just kind of like,
Oh wow.
super average the whole time, and it never made an emotion in me. I was never like, or oh my gosh, or oh ha ha ha. It was just like neutral, very just calm waters, nothing happening.
What you? This is like one of the only, like one of the not only. This is one of a few movie reviews that I just completely disagree with you.
I
Maybe
also
I
think,
way, but
yeah, I also think I pretty much hate every single '80s movie that we've watched. Like, I don't think there's been a movie in the '80s that
I
I've
just
watched that I didn't feel this way. Like Independence Day, I'm pretty sure it was '80s.
No, we
I'm
didn't
gonna
review
watch-
Independence Day.
I know. I'm just saying that is a
Oh,
movie
that's
in
the
I've seen.
'90s. That's like '96.
I'm gonna
98.
find one that we reviewed that's in the '80s that you liked, and I'm gonna shove it in your face.
It is '96.
I
Then
told
80s
you,
and 90s
I know
movies.
movie dates.
80s and
Goodbye,
90s
Dr. Earl.
movies.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue arguing for probably too long.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get back to this movie. I think Sage has made us. It was cheese, and he didn't like the cheese, and it
Yeah,
was
that's fair.
cheese, and I don't eat cheese, and I love this cheese. So
It was neutral cheese. I'm not gonna get it again.
So let's talk about them escaping from the snake pit after. So I guess there's an Easter egg in there when
Terrible.
Sala and Indy are grabbing the Covenant. R2D2 and C3PO are a hieroglyph on the wall behind.
Really?
one of them. Yeah, it's really hard to see. I missed it this time. I didn't see it on this one.
I don't think if I watched this 100 times, I would ever notice that.
It's hard. You pretty much have to know where to pause it
Yeah.
to like see it.
Who finds that?
I don't know.
Who
I have
watches
no
it
idea.
that much and just crazy?
Michael thinks Indiana Jones is a nice melted brie.
It is. Wow.
But so I love the scene, and this is really cheesy. After the Indy breaks the wall down by shoving the statue through the wall, and Marion climbs over, and all the skeletons are popping out. I love that they added screams
I
every
hated
time the
that.
skeletons would pop out. I think I heard a story about it. I think it's because they did the scene originally without the screams, and they're like, "Well, this doesn't really work. It's not that scary."
Yeah.
And then they put the screams in, and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of fun. This is awesome. Like this like completely changed the scene and like really made it work, and it made it work for me, and obviously did not for Sage."
Well, and
Yeah,
I
hated
just
it.
think that there's like a element of trying to startle people
Mhm.
that like I think they for like I feel like I don't know. I haven't seen enough movies from like the last 50 years to know, but it feels like they use a lot of like sounds to try and like startle you and like quick images that pop out. And then like they've slowly turned into using other things, like things that are just like creepy images or
Mhm.
like I don't know, other things. But this seemed like a very 70s, 80s version of trying to make you go, ah. And it was yeah, it was kind of funny watching her just bounce around. But I did like, I mean, that was just a classic, like you get left down in a pit of snakes and they close the door on you. How
Mhm.
like who else is gonna get out other than Indy? It's like a
Yeah,
very
that's
James
great.
Bond thing. So it yeah, I mean all that stuff you just like I think I look past and I like it about it. But I
Them
also
getting
love
out was
Bond,
so bad. They just push out a rock that's like barely fit into the hole that it's stuck into.
it was kind of funny that
and
it
they're
just
just at an airport, and it's just like an open-faced wall of like buried building towards an airport that they regularly use, and they're not like,
What's
maybe there's like something in that building,
well,
or like
Sage,
maybe there's a
TSA
building there
didn't
and there's something
exist
in
at
there.
that time. There weren't TSA agents.
They're just like sitting there looking at it all day, and they're not thinking, he hasn't dug there yet, and he
Yeah,
hasn't
but
found it.
they knew that there were asps, very dangerous down there. That's a type of snake.
They didn't figure that out. They figured it out
bueno.
after they threw a fire torch down, and then it was like, oh.
No, I know,
snakes.
but when they
Well, he said
trapped
just
them,
while it was
the
moving.
Nazis were like, there's a bunch of asps, very
No,
dangerous
I'm saying
down there.
these Nazis were just chilling there for like however long, just like watching the airplane, just sitting there for days,
Well, it's funny that they
probably
butchered.
months, and they just see this open-faced wall with a hole in it, and they're like,
It
Well, the
didn't.
hole wasn't
"You
that
think we
big.
should check that out?"
It didn't
No.
have a hole in it. The rocks were there.
Yeah,
the rock was so not fit into the
Sage,
hole
you
that it
become
was
an
in.
archaeologist and find some places and dig some things up, and maybe I'll believe you.
I
Indiana
think you're being
Jones
too
was like,
hypercritical of this movie, but that's fine.
Yeah.
that was bad.
There was a mistake in that scene when he pushes it out. You can see that it's made of styrofoam because when it pushes out, you can see the shadow and it bounces like super high.
Really?
Yeah,
That's kind of funny.
but like whatever, it's a shadow. Like you're not going to notice the shadow bouncing. But then the fight scene on the plane is so great. I love it. He takes down the first guy and he's crawling up the plane, and the just massive German dude's like, "Hey, come on!" And he just does just the defeated look of, "Oh my god, this is never going to end." I just loved it, and then it's just, and like he does get his ass kicked through the whole thing, and then finally the propeller is just legendary.
Well, and I like how that whole scene just totally goes to shit. They're just like,
Yes,
they had their
their whole
so
plan.
close to be like hopping on this plane and getting out of there, and then all of a sudden there's an explosion and the plane's gone, and they are just like, well, fuck, and they have to go figure something else out. But I like that basically set up the bad guys finally being like, okay, I don't know, like there's a lot of shit going on here. We just need to get this thing out of here. Like we can't keep fucking around over here. We have what we need. Let's get out. And so then like it kind of leads on. It leads you like that airplane blowing up. I feel like is like the turning point where he's just like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Let's just get out of here. So it keeps the story moving, and that was great about it. But
I agree with this. Garrison said Indy getting his ass kicked is what Indy ripoffs miss most of the time. Is the characters in like a lot of the Indiana Jones ripoffs, like they're always going to win the fight.
Yeah,
like Indiana Jones, he lucks into winning a lot of these fights.
Well, he beats like when like those 6 guys in Cairo came after him with swords.
Yeah, but if you watch it, it's like it's a lot of like he just kind of like steps back and like a guy like stabs another guy. Like, so it's a lot of luck in that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I like, again, that's something that I can definitely see. Like the fight scenes are definitely harkening back to movies of a different era, which definitely come off cheesy, but I'm okay with it because I think they're done well. But then, so we get another one of my favorite lines when he tells Sala to go and find a boat or a plane or anything to get him back to England. He's like, and I'm going to go steal the Ark. And Sala's like, how are you going to do that? And he just looks at him. He's like, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. And then he comes off in the horse. And that's super Lucas. Like, it's one of the themes that Lucas used in like Return of the Jedi of this nature versus machine type of like motifs that he likes to use. And so it's a horse versus like this big caravan of cars. And the horse catches up with it. And I like that a lot. And then I think that entire chase scene is awesome, besides a few maybe continuity errors. But my favorite part of the whole thing is when he gets pushed out the front and he does the crawl down the car.
Yeah, that was
it's so cool. And then with the whip, and I just loved it. I'm like, man, I wonder if I could do that. You know what I mean? Do you ever wonder that?
I wonder how they shot that, because that looked pretty legit. I don't like. It looked like they actually had somebody like doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. My guess is it was shot at a very slow speed. Which is my only guess, or I don't know. I have no idea.
Like when I saw him like bumping on the ground a little bit, I was like, oh shit! It actually does look like somebody is just getting thrown around.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would hurt really bad. But yeah, I guess maybe that's the only thing is that they.
It did give me some Mad Max Fury Road vibes.
Thank you for joining us, Garrison.
But the anywho, yeah, I like that mostly because then he just comes right back through and just kicks him and does the same exact thing. So
Yep.
that was funny. I thought it's kind of ridiculous when he like crawls under the car and comes back. But I like how he just immediately does
the same thing, and he just like keeps hitting the guy like on the dash like over and over and over and over. He's like, I'm so sick of this shit, and then finally throws him out.
Like when he came through and he was gonna kick him again, I thought he's just gonna kick him out the door. But
Yeah.
I like just kicks him, takes his spot, and then throws him out the front. He's like, "You go do what you just did to me."
Yeah.
But anywho, yeah. And then the other scene that, like, man, it happened all so quick, that's the other thing that I kind of like is like he never really had a break. But like when he goes onto the boat and then like right after they're on the boat for not that long. I think it's maybe one night, like in the very early in the next morning, like the ship gets raided and like the Ark gets stolen again, and it's like he's like, God damn it.
Mhm.
But I like how as they're leaving, it's just that's another very James Bond thing. Like he's just already on the boat, moving by himself, no plan, just winging it, and everybody on the other boats just cheering for him. They're like,
Yeah.
"You go, man!"
Oh, Melissa is here. Hello, Melissa. I'm sorry we did not love what was the movie that she picked? Our last listener's choice. Why can't I remember the name? The bottle clinking thing.
Oh, whoa!
The Warriors. I did enjoy the movie. My score may not have reflected, but I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was great.
But anyways, before that, I love Sala singing after she gives him a kiss. It's just so funny and just so Sala, and he's just such a happy big dude.
Yeah.
And then I mean, just all time smoothness from Indiana Jones with the ow that hurt, ow that hurt. Well, where doesn't it hurt? Here and here and here. It's just so smooth.
That's like
Now-
the romance side of this movie was awesome. I loved it.
Now, one cheesy thing that I really, really like, and I fully admit that it's very cheesy, is when she hits him with the mirror, which that's just funny. But then the like massive scream and they zoom out of the boat and it's like super loud. And then they go back in. She's like, did you say something?
Yeah, he's already beat up.
He has given up on, but I loved it. But yeah, so they once again lose the Ark. Marion gets captured. They go into the submarine.
Yeah.
Luckily, the submarine doesn't go underwater and it stays floating like at water level to the island because they're already
to like Indonesia.
they were already close, and they were having to like maneuver super.
Indonesia is
tightly
not
around
close.
stuff.
Sage, submarines move so fast, man.
Sage, so fast. What are you talking about?
Fastest things in the world.
Wait, how do you know it was
Indonesia's-
Indonesia?
On the map, it looked like Indonesia.
Oh, yes, but they were on the other side of Africa. They were on
Egypt
the
is still far away.
It's still probably a good
sure,
ways
but
away from Africa.
no, but the boat was going around to like going by Indonesia anyways. Is my guess.
Hey, yeah, I was just looking at it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's something I don't even.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he hopped on the submarine to go get his girl, and
And then he steals the Nazi suit of the guy that's way too small for him, which is very funny too. And the other guy comes up and he kind of
Isn't that a
sizes him
Star
up. He's
Wars
like, "Yeah, that'll work." What?
isn't that a Star Wars thing? I feel like Han Solo does that.
I mean, the stormtrooper suits fit them, and then when Luke comes into Leia's prison cell, she's like, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?"
Maybe that's just
Maybe that's what you're thinking
I
about.
don't
But
know.
like,
I just felt like I'd seen that.
Han and Luke put stormtrooper armor on.
I just
So,
like
yeah,
I've
it's-
seen that. Maybe I've just seen that clip before, like that scene. But anywho, yeah, that was good. But the one thing that there's two times in the whole movie where I was like, just like strategy wise, I was not too impressed. I was like, oh, come on, you could have thought this one out better. The first one was when she was purposely getting the other guy drunk. And then when she was like hiding the knife and she picked up the knife and like they first started laughing about it, I was like, oh, I thought she was going to just stab him and run. And then she like turns around to run away and then just gets caught. And I was like, what were you doing this whole time? I was like,
It's
your
tough.
whole plan was just to grab this butter knife and then not use it and run out the door. Like, come on. And then the other one that I thought was bad was his bazooka. I was just like,
Yeah,
what?
that
I mean,
was tough.
I get that maybe he was just trying to see if they'd call his bluff. But what a terrible, terrible way to try and like win or get what you want in that situation. Just to be like, I'll blow up the ark, but give me the girl. And obviously they're not going to do that.
And to
So
put all that effort in. He rowed,
Yeah,
he
just to
swam
get
to a
caught.
submarine, rowed on a submarine on a quick little trip to Indonesia.
yeah,
Took
but
a
maybe
Nazi outfit, took out
maybe that's
another
whole part of
Nazi.
his thing is that like when he said, I don't really know, I'm just winging it. Like that's part of his whole thing. So
Yeah, and like sometimes it just doesn't work out, and this is a time that it did not work out.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Melissa kind of agrees with Sage. She watched these for the first time this year, and some of the charm was lost on her. She was it annoyed her quite a bit. Very interesting.
All right.
Very
So you're
interesting.
not alone on this.
No, Sage is not alone.
I'm not alone. I've talked to some people at work. I'm not alone.
Oh, chefs don't like it.
No, there's mixed. My immediate coworker was
Or a
really pissed that I
mixologist.
said it was average. She said, "What is wrong with you?" And I asked a couple more people, and they're like, "Yeah, no, you're right." I was like,
But yeah, so that was the other one that I was like, you're doing so good in all of these situations, but you just like after all of this time to think it through, you just decide to be like, oh, I'll just threaten him with a bazooka. I was like, come on, Indy, you're better than that. But anywho, leads to them getting caught, which was I think the other thing that I'm going to say about the ending is that I liked it because with every movie, like as it starts to come up to it, you always wonder how they're going to finish it off. And the way that I thought that this was going to get finished off was some sort of like, I don't know, he somehow gets loose from his like bindings or whatever and like saves the day and is this big hero. And I'm glad that it didn't really end that way. Like he kind of just like was at the mercy of whatever this arc.
God.
Yeah. The God of like this arc and whatever, I don't know, religion. But
I can explain it to you if you want me to.
yeah.
So the reason it doesn't kill them is because they don't look. They humble themselves before God to
Yeah.
steal.
Yeah.
To steal a line from another movie coming down the line a little bit. So it's the whole thing of they are able to recognize the power that they're witnessing, and they don't want to use that power, and God knows that, so he spares them and kills everybody else and kills the cameras and the lights. And I like it. Yes, it is quite cheesy, but I also like the ending. I think the special effects on it, though, I think they all look fantastic. ILM, I think, did a great job.
It was pretty funny.
The face melting, the face exploding stuff was
I
just
like that there was 3 different ways of
yeah.
It was like one was melting, one was like the third one was exploding for sure. I forget what the other one was, but like it was all 3 different ways of.
It was like an inverse melt, a melt, and an explosion for the last.
And then the main guy just like Iron Man to the rest of them. Pretty great. But the one thing I like about it was that it was something that was outside of his control, outside of all of their controls, or something much bigger than them. And it was the greedy ones that got killed in the end. And it was the ones that were humble and that were on the adventure for the right reasons, I guess you'd say, or whatever, are the ones that were spared because they.
Uh-oh, internet. Uh-oh. Sage, did that happen to you too? Okay.
No, I'm here.
I thought it was me. Oh man, it really took him out. But yeah, so I this is tough. I have a
He's even gonna
documentary.
remember what he was saying.
He's probably still talking. A documentary that I think you guys would really like is it's called Light and Magic. It's on YouTube. It just came out this year. It's all about ILM from like Star Wars to Jurassic Park to like now, and it's very fascinating stuff. Wow, really tough. Tate, if you can still hear us. Oh, there we go. Hi, Tate.
Oh, whoa. That was crazy.
That was nuts.
When did you lose me?
I don't even remember now.
What you were saying.
Damn. Because I went for like, I have no, like all of a sudden, at some point you guys were just gone probably already. And then it like, my whole screen went black.
You were talking about what you liked it because it was out of
Yeah.
their hands is kind of where you left off.
Yeah, and I think that like it was the which is funny because the podcast will like the audio recording will
Yeah,
have all of
that
it.
stuff.
Yeah, but I was just saying that like the greedy ones got killed and the ones that were on the adventure for the right reasons and were not going to indulge in this whatever the thing was at the end of the rainbow. They're the ones that were spared. And I think like the other thing that I was going to say that I like about it is that they lead up to it a lot throughout the movie. So like the first time is when the museum guy was just like,
They're back at the college and they show the picture.
well, and he was just talking to him before he was about to go on the adventure. And he was just like, I'm just kind of nervous for you. He's like, everybody who's ever gone on this adventure has always died. Nobody's like come back from this alive. Maybe it's something that isn't supposed to be solved or isn't supposed to be found. And so they kind of hinted that early on, and I had to rewind for that scene because I was like, did I miss? I was like, is there somebody else? Is there something else that he's worried about? But it is just the pursuit of it, and it's the thing at the end of the rainbow that he's worried about. He's like, everyone's always died. Just be careful, kind of thing.
Well, and the legend is that the city that it's buried at was buried because they stole the Ark.
Okay.
It was buried by a year-long sandstorm because they stole the Ark, and so it's a great point that you bring up too about that. And Andy makes a point about how he doesn't believe in that any of that mythical nonsense.
And the other thing that somebody else says throughout the movie is they were talking about like the Ark, and they're just like I forget exactly what happened. But when Sala said like it's something that's like out of this world, it's like unworldly.
I think it was at some point when they were digging, and he was like, "Andy, I don't like this. It doesn't. I don't think we're supposed to find this."
The snake pit, and they're like, "We're finding it and reeling it up." He was just like, "This is something that's like otherworldly, not something that we can comprehend." I don't know, stuff like that. So I like that they lead up to that ending of God just being like, "Bitch."
Yeah. While you were gone, I brought up that there's a great documentary on ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. I've talked about them a lot on this episode, especially in the Jurassic Park one, which was way, way long ago. That was like 100 episodes ago, which is crazy. But it's on Disney Plus. It's 6 episodes, and it's from Star Wars, pretty much to Jurassic Park when computer graphics take over. And ILM was at the forefront of all of it. They did all the work on this too, and it's really cool how they did the storm visual effects. It was like in like a big bowl of water, and they like added stuff to make it look like clouds and filmed that. It's really cool. I don't do a good job of describing it. You got to watch it, but it will give you an appreciation for movies of the 70s through like the 90s, really, because they're inventing all of this stuff as they go. They invented like new cameras and new ways of shooting while they were shooting Star Wars stuff. It's really cool, and it's real pioneers there behind all the visual effects stuff from ILM.
Yeah, I guess for being like, what was this one? 83?
81.
81? Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, and like it's definitely been like restored and stuff, but like I'm pretty sure it has not been like changed all that much. Like the original Star Wars movies in 97, they were redone with like computer graphics and stuff and added stuff and whatnot. And I don't think they've really touched this besides like 4K upgrades and transfers and like stuff like that, and like digital transfers and cleaning up the picture on like some of the film stuff. But yeah, I also love the final shot of like the big massive warehouse of all of the crazy stuff that the US government has collected, and it's all labeled like do not open. Probably headed to like Area 51 or something, but and so that's a map painting, which is another thing you can learn about if you watch that movie. It's just like backgrounds painted on like glass, and so they look real, and it's all like perspective stuff, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that was a good like kind of ending where he was just like, "Oh, don't worry, somebody's looking into it," and he's just like, "Who?" And they're like, "Don't worry, somebody."
Good. Yeah, Michael confirms it. Spielberg has not messed with this movie at all in post-production stuff, and after it's been released,
love it. Leave it be, baby.
All right. Well, I think that's kind of all I've got for this
Yeah,
movie. That
the only
I
other
took a
thing I
lot.
was going to say is that, whoa, you took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to say is like after finishing this, I was almost just like, all right, give me the second one right now. I'm ready for it.
Got to watch it by Thursday.
Oh, yeah, plenty of time. Oh, wait,
All
this
right.
Thursday?
Yes. Because you guys leave on the 7th, and we've got 2 more episodes to record.
Oh, yeah, so we're doing 2 this week, 1 next week.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. I
I
love it.
already watched Temple of Doom.
Oh, nice.
How
Interesting.
dare
Yeah, did you guys know this? In E.T. in like 2002, Spielberg replaced all of the cops' guns with walkie-talkies.
Really?
Yes, and then
Like in the actual movie, it shows them holding
yes,
walkie-talkies?
but you can't find that version anymore. Like a few years later, he's like, "All right, never mind. This was a mistake."
Oh, no, that's awesome. Just
No, it's stupid.
forever.
It's so
Yeah.
stupid.
I like just raw first cut that he has, and he just releases it. Leave it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in 2002, he changed the original copy
Yeah. Don't change it. Just leave it be, baby.
to walkie-talkie. All right. You ready to get into some scores here?
Yep.
Oh, you know what? Before we do that, it is the top number 55 top rated movie, and it won 4 Oscars.
Whoa.
It looks like it won everything that it was nominated for. Oh, nope. It was nominated for some other stuff as well. It won Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, which some awesome sets in this. Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Effects, Visual Effects. Special Achievement Award to Ben Burt and Richard L. Anderson for Sound Effects Editing. It was nominated for Best Picture, nominated for Best Director, nominated for Best Cinematography, and nominated for Music Original Score. Let's look up the 1982 Oscars.
Man, I'm looking up other movies that we've done recently. I got my score.
Let's see. Raiders. Art direction win. Okay. Reds won cinematography. Reds also won directing, directed by Warren Beatty. Chariots of Fire won original score. You know that score. And Chariots of Fire won Best Picture. Ironically, it won the best catering because of the variety of cheeses offered.
That was good.
That's funny.
Wow.
All right.
First time Michael and I sit down and talk, it ain't going to be about movies. It's going to be
Have
about
you not
cheese.
been on an episode that Michael's been on?
I'm talking about in person.
Okay. Who's bringing the cheese? Both of you?
Well, one of us brings the cheese, the other brings the beer.
Beer?
That's the deal. Yeah, everyone drinks beer with cheese. Or wine.
You're in Wisconsin.
If you're French, you drink wine. Or
If you're
Italian.
anybody.
If you're European. I guess wine and cheese do go really well together. It's up to you, Michael. Wine or beer?
That was funny. All right, let's get into some scores.
All right. From the aggregators, an 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb, a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 85 on Metacritic.
I'll go first. 85. Easy.
Okay. Sage, you want it or you want me to go?
At the end,
No, I can
rate
go.
just like the series as a total.
Say what?
At the end of this, we should just rate the series as a total. But yeah, this movie by movie wise, this one's an 85. We'll see how the others do. But this one set a good bar. I feel like in all the series that I've seen, like trilogies or whatever, there's definitely a couple that are like and a couple that are really good. So I'm curious to see where this one will fall in that. But this one set a really good bar.
Yeah, this one's a bang average 70 for me.
Wait, one second. See if I can chastise him or not.
Yes, he gave Romancing the Stone a 73. Michael said a Saison only. And Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. Sage gave Romancing the Stone a 73. He gave this one a 70.
All right. He's a crazy man.
I've made my case.
You
I'd
have.
rather eat Velveeta over American cheese any day of the week.
Oh man. So this is tough for me. So I have logged this movie on Letterboxd twice. Once was May 16th, 2020. I gave it a 99 out of 100. The second time I logged it was June 19th, 2020, when I saw this movie in the theater in as close to an IMAX screen as Wyoming has, in a Dolby Atmos theater. I watched it on 4K tonight. That time I gave it 100 out of 100. It's hard. This is really hard because I think I'm going to go. I don't think it's a perfect movie anymore. I think it is an almost perfect movie. I'm giving it a 99. A few of those things that Sage brought up, I unfortunately do agree with. It doesn't hurt it. It takes 1 point off for me because I think they're small things. But the difference between a 99 and a perfect movie is pretty big, I think. So I have a question. Do you want to know something about this next movie going into it that I think could help frame it better for you? Or do you want me to tell you that when we start the next episode?
I already watched it.
I'm
so
talking
whatever.
to Tate.
Yeah, save it.
Save it?
But bring it up so I can see if I missed it or not.
So here's I'm trying to remember. Michael, should I tell him? I think Michael should be able to pick up on what I'm hinting at. If I should mention, mute yourself or take your headphones off real quick, Tate.
Mute yourself.
Should I say that that the next one is the next one's a prequel? Temple of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Here. Oh God.
Do you think that's information that I should share with him, Sage and Michael?
I mean,
did you know that?
Nah, that was another. It took me a solid 5 to 10 minutes to figure out it was a prequel. That was extremely confusing too.
So it would probably be helpful.
You can see if he figures it out on his own. I don't know.
All right, he said.
I see Michael's. Yeah, won't matter. Nice, cool.
All right, so I'm going to tell you then because it won't.
Oh no! Don't tell me.
Yes, no, I am.
But he said no, that won't matter.
Temple of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's prequel.
Oh, okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Storyline wise, yeah.
Yeah. So it takes place before.
So it's a little Star Wars action here. All right.
Yeah, and I will say this. All four of them, at least the original three, are very much not that connected.
Okay.
So like we talked about serials and a different thing every single week, what happened in the previous movie doesn't necessarily have that big of an impact on the next one.
Okay. All right.
So don't go in it looking for like, oh, he's going to talk about how he just got the arc. Or
So
like
we're
the third one. Like, you know what I mean?
We're going to hear more about, what's her name? Michelangelo?
Karen Allen,
Marianne?
Marion.
Marion?
Ravenwood.
Yeah. We're going to hear about her story.
The opposite of what I said, but okay, so that I already let me re-math this.
Who's Kate Capshaw?
We'll meet her in the next movie.
And she's a 10. Karen Allen is Marianne?
Yeah, Marion. Yes, she's not lost on an island with Gilligan.
Wow, if she's a 7, sheesh.
All right, so that is an average score of 85 for this movie. What we're going to plug now is leave us a review, take a screenshot of that, send it to us, take a screenshot that you are subscribed to the podcast on whatever platform, take a screenshot that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you send us all three, you get 3 entries, two entries, one entry. You can win the digital copies to Indiana Jones on 4K, all 4 movies, Crystal Skull included, Raiders of the Lost Ark included. Temple of Doom included, The Last Crusade included. All 4 of them will be yours if you do those 3 things. You can send those to gd4ampodcast@gmail.com. You can send and DM them to us on Instagram at gd4gd_movies, right? Is it underscore? No, it's gd4gd.movies on Instagram. You can either tweet them at us or DM us on Twitter at gd4gd_movies. While you're at it, like if you don't do that, what are you going to do? I'm sorry, do I need to say? If not,
I know, I was waiting to see what Sage said.
I'm sorry.
I'm normally used to
I
the
got flustered.
intro as, and if you don't,
And if not, I got flustered. We're live.
I'll stick a Nazi monkey on you.
I'm gonna invite you for some wine and cheese, and the aperitif will be some dates.
Ooh.
Damn.
I'm going
be
to
good,
hold
could
your
be
eyes
bad.
open when I'm going to tell you to open your eyes when the arc opens up.
Oh,
Damn, I kind of like rating who I think has the best one. I think Sage might have had the best on that.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Damn.
I didn't see the dates thing coming.
Yeah.
Because I was going to use the dates. I was going to say, I'm going to give you a date.
Oh. Sage set it up pretty good. Damn it.
All right.
well, I spent the whole damn episode talking about cheese.
And whose fault is that?
Yeah, I'm about to go eat it.
We're going to have a cheese count on this episode. Soon. The word cheese.
All right. We'll catch you next week at the movies.